Soul to soul. If you like the sort of thing I'm doing on my YouTube channel, can you do me a favour and subscribe below? That way, hopefully the love can keep coming through and you can get all of my weekly videos to choose to click onto or ignore or unsubscribe or anything else you want to do. I've got a little goal for myself of a nice champagne waiting when I reach a certain amount of subscribers. So this is a really, really personal receiving for me. I need a few more people to subscribe and then I'm going to treat myself to that bottle of champagne. I made a promise this year that I would, and I have honoured a weekly YouTube session between me and you, and I need you in order to make my wishes of giving come true. And that might seem a real Carol, what did you just say? But in order for me to receive fully in my life the wishes, the needs, the explorations, the wants, the everything that makes up this wonderful, messy human existence, I need us to do it together. You know, there's not one person who does it all on their own. This enlightenment, this ascension, this unity, this heaven on earth, this ability to bring things together, to have a better world to live in for everyone now, not just a few, requires a real human shift into accepting, into the art of allowing you to be your magnificent self and me to be myself, magnificently, awkwardly, messily, gorgeously, any which way you want to describe it or experience it. So for me, a lot of my passion as a wayseer these days is to enable people to reach their potentiality. And sometimes that's a potentiality, not necessarily of success and money and this and that and the other, but of calmness, of stillness, of connection with their own divinity, of earthing, of living the full life in the way people really are born to live it. So, I want to ask you a question. This is all about who are you? You know, often there are some big meaty questions and I'd love to address some of these big meaty issues. Like, who am I? You know, how do I understand who I am? Where am I? What am I doing? What's this life all about? And it starts with some simple steps that are not necessarily simple in application. And this short video is just to actually set you off on step number one. I'm going to redress this time and time again in a lovely mini series about who am I and what does it really mean and what's it all about. So some of these big questions are underneath everything that you're searching for. So who are you? I'd love it if you could actually just get some device out or pen and paper or anything else and start in a moment to just take that blank sheet of paper and write on the top, who am I? And then if you earth yourself, we've done a video on earthing before, you know, and if you can actually divinely connect yourself with spirit, or whatever words help you to get into a mindfulness state, whatever activities assist you in becoming whole, into dropping into the body, into being here fully present. At the beginning of any of these enquiries that you do of your own self in your own way, it's actually excessively important to actually make sure you're all there to do it. That you're not going, who am I? Oh God, we know, what about the shopping? What about this? What about that? What about the other? It's like, who am I? You know, when you ask that question from a whole body, whole spirit in the body point of being, the answers are going to be somewhat different. So on that piece of paper, it's who am I? And be ready for the universe to answer that particular question. And I'd love to hear, comment below, join in the fun of it, everyone, about what sort of things are coming up for you. I will answer those, and we'll go into it in a bit more detail for each and every one of you. I'm here for you in that way, if you choose to enter that dialogue. So, you know already that you are love, you are joy, you are kindness. You do have clarity, you do have wisdom, you do have compassion. Now, I know some of you might be saying, yeah, but I'm not loving today, and I'm not joyful, and I'm this and that and the other. We're just looking for times in our life where we've experienced all of these things. Because the answer to who you are, can be answered in lots of different ways. You could be counsellor, not as a profession necessarily, but everybody always comes to you with need for advice. You could be mischief maker. You could be the one out when we're out there dancing and having a night out who's going to spark things off and poke people around a little bit. You could be the magician. You tend to sort of magic things out of thin air. You could be the healer. You could be the prince or the princess. You could be leader, you could be follower, you could be a person who absolutely adores setting things off but is crap at finishing them, So that's absolutely fantastic to understand and own that strength and limitation in itself, because there's other people around us who are going to be fantastic at picking up someone else's idea and seeing it through the middle and the end, but doesn't have the ability to think of it in the first place, but you do. So you get together with those people and magic happens. You could be an engineer, you could be a builder, you could be a visionary. There's so many words to describe and answer your question. And, the first level of this is just getting it down on paper. The art of witnessing ourselves is where we speak it or we write it. It's something where we have the facility to get this inward journey on the outward frame. And the outward frame is anything outside of self. So to write it down is, we feel, a sacred way of witnessing your own truth. And often when you write things down and then you look at them, or maybe even read them out, it's like, and you get more clarification, because some of them don't actually really sit well with you. And I'd love you to honour this in its complete entirety. Once you've actually written, who am I? And you write whatever comes from your heart, comes from outside of yourself. You think, wow, where did that come from? So you're doing a bit of channeling. Comes from what you know about yourself. It's quite a wonderful thing to start to be okay with that. Limitations, specializations, exceptions, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you honor the art of allowing, and you're really, really honest and truthful with yourself. Now, if you find that you write anything down that you think you feel a bit lacking in that area, just stop and just question why you're feeling that way. Often that's to do with living your life through someone else's agenda, living your life through someone else's need of you being a certain way. And that ends today. That ends now. If you embark on this particular journey with me, it can end today. So you just get really happy with who you are, exactly the way you are. That you start to love yourself for who you are in your entirety now. Because you know what? From a much higher perspective, who you are is starlight. If you look down to the basic chemical structure of the human body, it's all the same structures that are used in stars. that stars are needed to build, planets are needed to build, light is needed to exist. And you have the carbon and all the different things that are in there. You are made of it. So on one particular level, I celebrate you because you are starlight. You are universal love. You have every right to be here. You're unique and perfect just the way you are. I honestly believe everybody's been born with their own perfect, unique signature. And we don't need it changed and wielded and, you know, reformed to fit someone else's idea, to fit a society's requirement, to fit anything else other than what your authentic heart says you are, you need. That's where we follow. To achieve any of this beautiful enlightenment, ascension, a pathway of life more full of love and pleasure than pain. It requires a great big dollop of truth and honesty. And then it requires a great big dollop of, I'm okay with that. And then some of the things that, some jobs you've been trying to go for, or some relationships you want to improve, or further abundance you want to attract, happens much easier and in a more profound way because you've stopped lying to yourselves and ourselves about who we are and what we're here to do. We start to be honest in, this is me, and I'm not pretending to be anything else anymore. I'm happy just to be me, and work on that happiness of being yourself in order for more of exactly who you are to find you. You'll find a tribe that way. We call it soul family. You know, who's your soul family? Are you one of ours? You know, there's no requirement to change yourself to be one of ours. We ask for honest delivery of self and to celebrate exactly who you are. Okay, so I hope some of that was useful. I would genuinely love to hear how you've got on with that, and I will respond should you feel you want to chat about it. And yeah, it could really help me get my bottle of champagne if you subscribe on the button below. So guys, remember, you are starlight, you are love, you are joy, you're absolutely amazing just the way you are. But start this process, because I know it takes a while sometimes to get from A to B, let alone X, Y, Z. So start the process with the question from the heart. Who am I? And allow yourself to write it down. And then go celebrate that. Lots of love, soul to soul. Bye for now.